Bule cantik Polandia ini baru mau membuka diri dan berpandangan luas semenjak ia berada di negara Malaysia. Semenjak ia di Malaysia, dia baru tahu bahwa negaranya terlalu kaku. Semenjak dia di Malaysia, ia pun baru tahu tentang negaranya sangat rawan dengan kriminal. Semenjak dia di Malaysia, ia pun baru tahu bahwa negaranya masih tertinggal di bidang teknologi. Dan semenjak dia di Malaysia, dia baru tahu bahwa negaranya itu sedang tidak baik-baik saja. Dan semenjak ia di Malaysia, dia belajar mencintai orang Melayu. Nah, bagaimana pengakuan gadis cantik Polandia ini selengkapnya? Kita saksikan video ini sekarang.
Is smiling, everyone is kind, and everyone is just that perspective in life is why would you stress out if you don't have to, right?
Meet Agata. She's from Poland and has been living in Kuala Lumpur for 7 years. We had insightful conversation about her experience of dating a Muslim Malaysian, the laid-back lifestyle of local people, and the most notable differences between Poland and Malaysia. I'm Max, an entrepreneur and YouTuber. Let's get started.
I remember it was just when I moved to Malaysia, so I think there was this time of, Uber was just starting, or maybe I didn't even have a data on my phone yet, and I went to meet people that I knew, and going back at night, and I took a normal, meter taxi, right? And getting back to my place, and I fall asleep in a taxi. The driver wakes me up saying that we've arrived. And I open the door, getting out of the car, and I noticed that I don't recognize this place. I don't think it's where I lived. And again, I just moved in, so I wasn't sure 100%, some buildings do look alike. So I was very, very confused, right? And just woke up from my nap in the car as well. And then I got scared back to the car, and I'm telling the driver that I don't know if that's where I live. And he was like completely, worried but calm at the same time. He was like, don't worry, get back into the car. Let's find your place. Don't worry about the meter. He's not gonna switch on the meter. We'll just drive. And he was like, don't even think of walking, looking for this place on your own in the middle of the night. We're gonna find it. And true enough, he didn't switch on the meter. He was just driving with me everywhere within those small streets between those buildings. And we found the building, and he didn't want any money. He was just genuinely helping me. And I remember I was so shocked that probably if, in other places people would offer that to me, I don't know if I would even agree, because, it sounds suspicious, right? Get into the car, we're just gonna drive with no meter. But then that was the first story that really, it was obviously super surprisingly positive, but also shocking that it wasn't just the one situation. I think it happened to me, obviously analogical stories so many times.
Guys, kita pause sini. Dan hal semacam ini sudah pernah aku reaksi sebelumnya, guys. Namun peristiwanya yang berbeda. Pada saat itu, yang pernah aku reaksi adalah salah seorang warga asing, atau tepatnya warga Indonesia, yang istrinya melahirkan di salah satu hospital yang ada di Malaysia. Kemudian dia sangat panik lah ya. Dia pergi pulang juga, dan juga ke hospital lagi untuk mengambil barang-barang di rumah. Nah, di situ ia memesan Uber ya guys ya, taksi atau juga taksi online yang ada di Malaysia. Namun di situ supir taksinya menggratiskan atau percuma, tidak membayar 1 sen pun kepada pihak driver Uber itu guys ya. Karena aku nggak tahu guys ya, itu adalah salah satu sifat asli atau ketulusan supir taksi online yang ada di Malaysia guys ya. Dan ini kejadian lagi guys saat wanita ini sedang panik-paniknya untuk mencari apartemennya guys ya, karena dia keliru ya. Saat dia berada di dalam mobil, dia ketiduran, jadi dia merasa bangunannya berbeda daripada yang ada di apartemennya. Kemudian hebatnya di sini tuh supir Uber tersebut membantu untuk berkeliling mencari apartemen itu guys. Dan argonya dimatikan ya, tidak diaktifkan. Bagaimana di situ dapat kita lihat guys ya, mencerminkan ketulusan orang lain untuk membantu sesama. Dan hal ini juga patutnya dicontoh oleh banyak orang guys. Baik, kita lanjutkan lagi. Play.
time. Also within, those first days, I went in the middle of the night to get a satay. I didn't have anything in my fridge. So, it was not too far. There was this stall selling the satay. So I went there, ate it, and I paid, and I was leaving. And the lady started, shouting and calling me to go back. And I was like, did I forget something? And she was like, where are you going? And I was like, home. And she was like, you're not gonna walk alone in the middle of the night. She started calling her son to drive me off on the bike, which was literally 2 minutes by walk. Those situations are really countless. So what is surprising was definitely that selflessness and that care and that genuinity that they would help you out and they really worry. But then what's also surprising that it's not one time off. They just are like that. They are just that helpful.
How's it to date a Malaysian guy? If you can tell, because you're from Europe, so
yeah.
Probably you have some cultural
Berkencan dengan pria
Definitely.
Malaysia atau Melayu Malaysia ya.
I think overall, it depends how you look at it. All the differences were always amazing me, and I was always interested in them, rather than looking at them as differences, right? And I think that was forcing me to always open my mind more and more, and that's what I always tell people coming into Malaysia as well, and anywhere really in the world, right? You have to stop comparing or looking at things that are different. You need to start learning that, they are different, and not different because they are different from what you know. They are just different regardless of what you know, if you know what I mean. Yeah. It's just completely, shutting down what you know and just learning and opening your eyes and mind to what's new. But I mean, I've been with my boyfriend for already almost 9 years, so it's been going great. We can guess
9 tahun
that
ya.
long time being together. But yeah, I love those little nuances that you constantly, learn and discover.
Can you give an example?
The one was definitely the religion, right? He's Malay, so obviously for me to enter the whole, world of getting to know Islam was something very new. So there were definitely a lot of things that I'd never even thought about, like, getting married and needing to convert or...
Is it? Oh, yeah. So if you get married, you need to convert to Muslim.
Correct.
Otherwise it doesn't work.
Correct. That was definitely, something that it required discussions and me deepening my knowledge as well. The other things would be
Semoga dia
food, keep your
kelak
open
menjadi
mind
mu'alaf
as
ya
well.
guys.
Because they take it very seriously, so it needs to be a very respectful topic as well, but that's regardless of the relationship.
What's your top 3 dishes in Malaysia?
Easy. Nasi lemak. I think kolomi, so that's from Sarawak. If you haven't tried, you have to. And the third one, banana leaf. Food spoils you so much here. Like every time I go to Europe, I started bringing my sambal because, you start, and I was always wondering who does that. And later when I started doing the same, I got it. I think taste develops so much here that, the food from my region, which is usually using salt and pepper, and, it's heavy on the potatoes and flour and bread, which usually are not very intense in flavors. Yeah, after a few days, you start really missing it.
What would you recommend to people who are moving to Malaysia? How to make friends here or how to do networking?
People will be talking to you in the restaurants and you can do the same, right? I remember some of the people I was meeting, and they were my really good friends, and they are my really good friends, were people that I was meeting in the restaurant, or people when I was, pitching my business to, and there was a daughter of the owner that, we friended up. So I think just having it in mind that people here love it. They love talking to you. They are genuinely curious. So maybe, removing that barrier that might make feel people shy of just going out there. Because I think that's the thing in at least in my country, right? It can be a little weird if you go to the stranger and start talking to them, right? And that's, by the way, was the app that I was developing as my first business to help with that. But then I quickly realized that here people don't have that much of the problem, because if they want to talk, they will approach you. It's a happy place. I feel like Malaysians are genuinely happy, and the place, it's overall very, like the lifestyle, it's very chill, but not in the way it's unproductive, but in this way of looking at things. When I get back to Poland, and of course I'm not saying also that that's the rule, but that's that impression, right? That when I go to Poland, it's very tense environment. Everyone is quite, stressed out. You walk somewhere and you by accident, poke someone with your shoulder. There is already like a fight going on, right? And there is already, a lot of the tension, right? Would be the good word to describe it. But then here, everyone is smiling, everyone is kind, and everyone is just, that perspective in life is why would you stress out if you don't have to, right? So that's what I truly love and admire, because it gets into you and starts teaching you that good, principles in life, that the life maybe was supposed to be about that, than, constantly rushing and running and, basically getting angry at every single thing, and everything can trigger you. While in Malaysia, you just are surrounded by smiles. So it kind of, it's hard to be angry and it's hard to, be frustrated.
If we compare KL and Warsaw, what's the biggest differences between two places apart of the weather?
I think the convenience will be definitely a big thing. That I think Malaysia really teaches you convenience, or
kenyamanan
gets you
juga ya.
that convenient lifestyle, right? You get really a lot of great solutions. Grab delivery, grab food, a lot of services. You can basically get everything. It's really good quality. I think in Poland, in Warsaw, it's still not that digitally connected. I remember, it wasn't in Warsaw, but Krakow, and I'm sure in Warsaw would be similar. I was going for dinner, staying over at my brother's place. And, I was running some errands and he was stressing out, asking me about the dinner. And I was like, chill down, we're just gonna order when I get back. And he was like, what do you mean? It doesn't work like that. It doesn't deliver. And I was like, oh, come on, it does. Maybe you don't know. And then I get to his place, we have no food. And I'm checking boldly all the, food apps that are there. And true enough, it's just a pickup. And I was like, whoa, in Malaysia, you can get it at like 2 a.m. You can get a food any time of the day. So it's really the convenience of things that definitely hits you. The other one would be linking to people, because it really, you go to the store here and you have a small chit chat with the, a sales assistant, and you are both smiling and you are both, happy. And then you go, in Warsaw to the store. And again, not generalizing, because obviously there's a lot of sweethearts there as well, but I'm just giving that overall impression, right? What hits me when I go there and have that contrast. So they are, very distanced. It's very cold, not the weather-wise, but like in that feeling and the vibe, right? It's just very transactional in that sense. You just get your thing, they might or might not look at you, and you split in different places. So I think people, don't look at you, don't smile at you. It's just different, that vibe in the air in that sense. And I think maybe that one also links to how genuine Malaysia is as well, and Malaysians are. I think it's that warm and friendly, feeling in everything you do, and that also goes into the, circle of people. They are just like, I don't think Malaysians are envious. I don't think Malaysians ever mean wrong. You know what I mean? It's just always that coming from the good place. So that's definitely the big core thing. And I'm not saying that Polish don't, but again, linking back to those, to that situation that I was describing, you are a little more cautious, in the shops and in those interactions.
What are your favorite places in KL?
I really always get chills when I get to KLCC Park, especially in the whole KLCC area. I think especially, at night there are so many people and the
Nanti
families,
kita bahas lagi ya
watching
guys
the
ya.
fountain, and just walking around, it just feels so developed. You're jungly at the same time. It's such a beautiful, scenery. And then you have the Petronas, which is, that view doesn't get old. I think the shape and the lighting is just so beautiful that anywhere around, it's one of my favorite places, especially at night. But I think it's so versatile that looks good always. So I think the whole KLCC area, that sometimes I just like to, put the music and walk around and sweat because I love that vibe so much. I also like, that's probably a little weird, but I also like the food market. It's definitely a little rush. It's not to wander around, but I do like to go to the, fruit market, and, the locals are also very genuine. They would talk to you, they would ask you the questions, and then you have that vibrant, very imagination of the Southeast Asia with, people shouting, selling mangosteen, and then you have all the fresh produce and the realness of it and the smells of the food and, the crowd. There is a lot of, I really like the gardens and the lake area there as well. It's definitely beautiful. I rarely really go there because I know if I get from one point to another, I will be already sweating like crazy, but it's a beautiful area as well.
I heard that it's pretty difficult to get a PR, like permanent residency here.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the definitely, the part that when you think about it, that, you live, you have your whole life life here, right? You basically not here just for the 2-year contract. You have your, literally basically a life. And then, you decide to leave the job or switch the career. You basically, become a tourist overnight. And after 3 months, 90 days,
You gotta leave.
Yeah, you gotta leave the country, pack up your life and leave the country. So that's definitely tough part to realize. It's very hard. I think there are places in the world that, grant it for you based on the years that you live in the country. I think Hong Kong is one example. Malaysia doesn't have that. I know there are ways, and they do have a lot of programs like talent visa or Malaysia My Second Home. If I'm not sure if this is still up, but I know that there are some programs that, people can explore to get alternative ways to stay in Malaysia for longer, and people do get them as well, so there are ways.
Are you leaving? Wait, enjoy this video first. But it's gone in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Baik, tadi telah kita reaksi bersama bagaimana keputusan penting dalam hidupnya dari wanita cantik asal Polandia ini yang sangat bahagia ketika berada di negara Malaysia. Dari Polandia, dan setelah tinggal selama 7 tahun di Kuala Lumpur, banyak hal yang membuat dia kaget tentang kepedulian dan ketulusan orang-orang Malaysia untuk membantu dirinya, guys ya. Dan bantuan itu seperti mencari apartemennya ketika dia lupa. Nah ini guys, ini momen yang sangat penting karena dia lupa posisi apartemennya. Kemudian supir taksi online itu dengan senang hati untuk menawarkan bantuan berkeliling mencari apartemennya itu dan mematikan argo atau juga tidak membayarkan tagihannya, dan dia memberi bantuan secara gratis ya guys. Nah, kepedulian yang sangat tulus ini benar-benar membuat semua hati orang tergugah, guys. Orang semua akan terharu jika seluruh supir taksi di muka bumi ini seperti yang ada di Malaysia. Dan hal lainnya lagi adalah tentang orang Malaysia yang menemaninya saat dia berjalan sendiri di tengah malam. Nah, banyak sekali orang di Malaysia yang menawarkan kebaikan kepada orang lain, guys. Ketika wanita cantik ini berada mungkin di luar rumah atau di luar apartemen saat tengah malam, dan untung di Malaysia kejadiannya guys ya. Kalau di luar dari Malaysia aku nggak tahu, mungkin ada tindakan kriminal atau apapun ya guys ya. Dan alhamdulillahnya dia berada di negara Malaysia sehingga dia dapat dibantu atau juga ditolong oleh orang-orang sekitar ya guys ya. Dan selanjutnya lagi dia katakan seperti ini guys, di negaranya bila bertemu orang asing dan mengajaknya berbicara itu adalah sesuatu hal yang aneh. Tapi kalau di Malaysia, jika ingin berbicara, mereka akan mendekati. Wow, luar biasa kan guys ya. Itu adalah ciri-ciri orang Malaysia jika dia tertarik kepada orang lain guys. Jika dia respect ya, maka dia akan berusaha untuk mendekati dan berkomunikasi dengan baik guys. Keramah tamahan inilah memang betul-betul tidak dimiliki oleh negara-negara di Eropa sana guys. Dan sesuatu hal yang ada di Malaysia seperti ini, seperti keramah tamahan masyarakatnya, tentunya itu membuat semua orang betah. Nyaman di Malaysia. Buktinya wanita ini sudah 7 tahun dan ia masih ingin tetap melanjutkan hidupnya di Malaysia. Baik, demikian tadi video dari aku. Semoga Anda semua terhibur dengan video ini dan aku mohon undur diri. Mohon maaf jika ada kesalahan dan kekurangan. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.